There is a left-wing radicalization violence problem, and there's a lot of violent rhetoric out there, and it's why they call you a Nazi. Because what do you do
Sure,
to Nazis? You meet them with
sure.
force, right? Like, look at
Mhm.
this. Somebody is dead, people are crying. He's a husband, a father, a moderate as far as Republicans go. And you see this and your first by the way, Kian, this is beautifully done. But you see this and your first reaction is nuke those people. Like, there's a real cultural problem on the left. And instead of doing a little introspection right now, they're quite committed to doubling down. Um, just switching lanes to Saskatchewan on the same issue. Um, you had a vigil at the Saskatchewan legislature in Regina. There was one visible counter protester similar to one that we had in Edmonton. Of course, the Handmaid's Tale lady was out. As if do they not read another book on the left? It used to be the Harry Potter stuff, but now they hate J.K. Rowling. And so several hundred people at the beautiful Regina legislature. One visible counter protester held up a sign with words allegedly ascribed on one of the assassin's bullet casings. You have to be crazy to
Mm.
show up and hold us like why isn't CSIS taking this woman away? This is
Well,
a terrorist slogan. That was
that
on one of the bullet casings.
that's a good question. That's a good question. Why this didn't happen, and then just below this post by Just Vince shouts to a local garbage company that does the best news
The
coverage
best
in all of
news.
Saskatchewan. Um,
Yeah.
just below the post, the person holding the sign with the words that were engraved on the bullets that were intended to kill Charlie Clark. Okay, that person said, "Haha, I had such a I had many great conversations here. Haha, people were really, really nice to me. Nothing bad happened," and sort of made light of their counter protest. Oh, I guess it wasn't a counter protest. Their protest sign here. But how lacking in decorum do you have to be to show up at a vigil that is honoring an assassinated husband and father with the words of his assassin on your sign? How like the levels of disconnect here are absolutely insane. The
and
levels of disconnect here.
Mhm.
and shows up looking for a fight and doesn't get it. The same thing happened in Edmonton. This Handmaid's Tale lady shows up looking for a fight, and all she got was a good old fashioned deliverance ministry. People just prayed over her until she shut down and sat in the water for 10 minutes. It was gross. It was
Yep.
I did not go in the water. I'll
No,
tell you that. But
yeah,
go ahead.
they
Yeah,
showed
look,
up to provoke, right? Like they show up to provoke, and then when they don't get their intended reaction, they slink away and go, "Ha, ha, ha, no, no harm, no foul, guys. No harm, no foul."
yeah.
But this is pretty deplorable. This
That
is
what that sign is, it's not even like a saying that they say, it's a meme about dropping a bomb from a video game.
sure,
Like I
sure.
play the video game. And so when I saw it, I never even knew that. So I think it's like it's good to distinguish that it's not a saying that they say about like catching a punch or catching a bullet. It's the meme about dropping a bomb on people.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. But
So it's even worse.
that was
Yeah,
purportedly used by the assassin on the bullets, right?
Yeah,
right.
Like, it was all
it's
meme
with the
based and it's all
arrows.
Discord based. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Kelly?
yeah. Those arrows are a code to drop a nuke
Mhm.
in the
Ugh.
game.
So it's just so it's about all of us, really. It's not just about Charlie. If they could nuke us all, they would. I mean, they nuke Alberta and by extension, I suppose, our siblings in Saskatchewan. Kelly?
I don't know even what to say to this sort of thing. This is why I used the word demonic earlier. You know, you joked about the deliverance ministry, Sheila, but honestly, how do you, I can't reconcile with it in any other way. I can't conceive of the level of derangement that these people are under, the level of evil, the level of darkness, the level of anger. What is happening in their brain? What is happening in their heart? What is happening in their life? These sorts of things are just vile. And, I'm pretty tolerant of people in my life who have different opinions. I can find middle ground with almost anybody. And I can usually keep my mouth shut and keep the peace and go enjoy a family wedding or whatever. But if you're dancing on the grave of Charlie Kirk, just stay out of my life. I just want nothing to do with these people. I feel like what this has done is drawn a line in the sand morally of just showing where people's heads and hearts are at. And it's becoming very clear. And that is a very clear divide. I was really happy, to hear that Justin was speaking out. Not that that's a surprise. They've been pretty honest. I've just said they are fantastic. I've tried to explain to people, you must follow this garbage company, and people look at me like I'm insane. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
They're doing the news.
They're doing the news. They're fantastic. Their social media game is epic. And I'm glad to hear that it was just, the odd sole protester in these places in the West. But I think it was Lisa that said, it's scary to know these people walk among us. And what it brought to mind was when I was on the plane heading to the UK out of BC, there was a young couple, maybe in their 20s, and they were sitting a couple of rows ahead. And they were openly laughing about his death. They were brazen. They were loud. They were emboldened. It's one thing to hide behind a keyboard. Yeah, it's one thing to hide behind a keyboard. You expect that. I didn't read all those comments because I just didn't want to see it. But to hear it in person and to see these people just openly in front of hundreds of people being fine with it, and they're not ashamed. They believe they're in the right. And I don't know what you do with that. I've always tried to be, it's hard because Charlie Kirk wanted to speak to people to avoid the violence, and he wanted to try to talk to them and make them think. And I know we should all be following his example, but it is hard because I don't know how you reason with someone like that. I just don't think that you can. And as Kian said, it's not just a hatred towards Charlie. It's about Alberta. It's about Saskatchewan. It's about Christians. It's about conservatives. So all of us, really, if they could, they would just take all of us down. And because it's been this narrative of, oh, they're Nazis, oh, they're fascists, it's justified in their mind because they're doing some sort of revolutionary act for humanity, I guess. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you do with this. I really don't, other than pray for people. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you do with it. I really don't. It's mind blowing. I'm still processing. I can't process this. I don't know if anyone else just feels like this is between the heaviness of the grief and the insanity of the reaction. Mm-hmm. It's hard to wrap your head around, right?
Mm-hmm. If you are at the Globe and Mail, you know what to do about all of this. Publish an unhinged screed from Andrew Coyne, the hysterical Mr. Potato Head guy from the Power and Politics panel where they all look the same. They all look the same. He is indistinguishable from Chantal Hébert and the other person that's on the panel at this point. They all just look like unpeeled boiled potato blobs at this point. But anyways, he's decided that the death of Charlie Kirk did not make him a moderate. I'm so glad that this guy is our moral and intellectual superior. And if you have a subscription to the Globe and Mail, might I suggest you reconsider? Because I can't even believe this made its way past an editorial fact check, like a basic fact check. The things that he is asserting in this opinion piece are just untrue. Now, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not really entitled to your own facts. For example, if you go down in that, he says, in suburban Los Angeles. Now, this should actually tell you how mainstream Charlie Kirk is, that he can inspire a vigil in suburban Los Angeles, but not according to Andrew Coyne, who sees masked white supremacists of the Patriot Front marching, chanting, say his name, say his name, Charlie Kirk. The Patriot Front, those are feds. Like everybody knows, those are feds. In London, right-wing extremists rally against immigration. Kelly, you were there. You're a right-wing extremist. And again, the name on everyone's lip is Charlie Kirk. Across Europe, in Germany, in Spain, in France, and Hungary, far-right parties eulogize him as a martyr. Again, if these vigils are, and he calls it rallies, these are vigils for a slain, severely normal husband and father. Perhaps you're the problem. And he says, for someone who has been so often held up in recent days as a moderate mainstream conservative, Mr. Kirk is strangely popular with neo-Nazis and white nationalists, Christian theocrats, and other elements of the far right. And those those things are only those things because Andrew Coyne has labeled them those things. Because I doubt that he has wandered into a vigil. I can't imagine they'd be so keen on Mitt Romney, even in death. That's because Mitt Romney's never done anything of consequence, frankly, besides, being an establishment Republican. He didn't change the culture the way Charlie Kirk did. And of course, he's well on his way to sainthood among MAGA Republicans. And why not? For MAGA, the Trump White House in particular, Mr. Kirk's assassination has proven supremely useful as both a sword and a shield against their opponents. Just absolutely despicable. Lise, go ahead.
Well, in this moment, what we're doing is witnessing a litmus test, right? Like a social litmus test.
Yeah.
Because for I am so tired of the mainstream media and the left wing saying, no violence is never acceptable. However, he was a Nazi and white supremacist and riled up all of the gun-toting conservative Republican MAGA types. And without qualified, stop at the beginning of that sentence. It is never okay to shoot your political opponents. That's where that sentence ends. There's no qualifier that can make this acceptable. And yet here we have Andrew Coyne of the Globe and Mail trying to do exactly that. What we see him here doing is exactly what we're saying is wrong with the entire thing. These left-wing activists have gotten so out of control with their crazy rhetoric, with their insults, with their labels, with their slurs, with their demonizing conservatives and Christians to a point where this is sort of maybe kind of acceptable. Listen, they would not be celebrating publicly, Kelly, like you said, in public, out loud, without thinking that they were justified in doing that. And you know who gives them the justification to do that? People like Andrew Coyne.
Yeah, exactly that. He's doing the thing that led to the death of Charlie Kirk.
Right.
Calling him a Nazi, calling him a far-right extremist, calling him this, calling him that. But some sort of trans genocide heir. He's doing the thing that justified the murder of Charlie Kirk to his murderer, and he's thinking he's doing it as an intellectual thought piece. Kian, you were at the Calgary vigil. Did you see any Patriot Front masked crazy people, or was it just a bunch of same thing as Edmonton, normal distraught families and young people?
I saw children there, like very, very young children lighting candles. I mean, I saw nothing that was, no, I didn't see any beds there.
Like, there's not a moment of self-awareness for these people.
Truly
like
not.
Andrew Coyne. Someone is dead because of your unhinged rhetoric. And so what do? You know what we need? More unhinged rhetoric. It's bonkers. Kelly?
Well, as the saying goes, you don't hate the media enough.
Right.
They are the problem.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
I know. we are all giving it our best effort. But wow. And again, I don't want to bring the other topics up, but you can't help but see the pattern that we saw during COVID. The Toronto Star article, let them die. Let them die is what they said. I mean, these people are not just they're not just not going against this narrative. They are promoting it. They are pushing it. They are pushing it forward. That is insane. And what's even worse is in our case, of course, we're taxpayers subsidizing this insanity. And what do you think is going to happen when you continually push that? And it's propaganda and it's working. The brainwashing is real. It's working. And they are partly responsible for this. I'm not saying Andrew Coyne specifically, but the media in general, whether it's in the US, whether it's in the UK, whether it's here, you continually push this narrative. You foment it in people's minds. You hope that people don't do their research, which, let's face it, most don't do their research, especially not in this country. And then you just sort of say, well, let the chips fall where they may. And then you're so aghast when something happens while you continually it's one thing. I'm mad at the people responding to this, but I'm more mad at the people, whether it's politicians or the media, who should know better, who have authority in their pen and are wielding it in such an irresponsible, vile way. And they know exactly what they're doing. And it's so passive aggressive sometimes in Canada. That's what really gets me. It's always with this little veil of, oh, we just care for the marginalized.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that because I'm tired of Canadians being portrayed as nice. I say it all the time. We
Mhm.
are not nice. We are passive aggressive.
Yes.
And I think our American friends sometimes confuse the two.